My name is Wen Gu. I'm a World Trade Center Health Registry enrollee. I was 15 at the time of 9/11. I was a student at Stuyvesant High School. My father enrolled me at the time. Adolescents and adults do process events differently, especially traumatic events. So my friends and I certainly have talked about the events of 9/11 and how we processed it afterwards. Being able to experience the same event and also the displacement together afterwards made a huge difference. We were out of school for approximately 2 weeks as the school building was being used for triage purposes. We were moving from different building to different building as I guess people were dealing with the logistic of it. And even after we moved back to the school, the air quality was certainly something that was of notice. People were taking readings on the air quality, but it smelled like burnt metal, even though we were being told that it was clean and clean enough, I guess. I never thought that I was in danger, even though there was horrendous events and terrible events happening around me. And then it was more about how do we move forward? How do we deal with the ever-changing environment as it was presenting itself? It's been 2 decades since 9/11 has happened. I would say it's had a overall positive impact in my life. I still talk about it in terms of not only my own experience, but also I incorporate it into my professional teaching as well, and also in discussing with other people who may or may not have been in the downtown area. There's something that binds us together, and so I would say overall it's been a net positive impact on my life. My experience at 9/11 the way that it impacts the way I work with patients is that I really try to not only do the actual, I guess, the background understanding of how the events affected them, but it's what they intend to do with it. Right? We know that the prevalence of trauma in the general population is about 70%, but the prevalence of PTSD is like 12%. So that tells you just because something happens doesn't mean that you're set on a very specific path. It means that there are other factors at play that could impact how this thing plays out. If one were to, I guess, project their life forward with trauma being the defining moment, then yeah, one could behave and think only within that framework. And the downside is then everything is already explained. There's no more curiosity about oneself. There's no more seeking alternative explanations or even different ways to want to make a more interesting story, right? So if I'm a psychologist and I think trauma is part of the picture, but it's not the diagnosis for which somebody needs treatment, I won't treat them for PTSD. I'll treat them for the reasons why they came into treatment. I think because it goes back to what I think the problem is. Trauma might be part of it, but it might not be the entire story. The health registry, their usefulness comes from the fact that it makes treatment available, right? It makes diagnostic resources available and treatment resources available. And providing these resources allows people to get a more accurate picture of what somebody might be dealing with, whether it's PTSD or not. Yeah, so looking back over the last 20 years, finishing my degree in clinical psychology was vastly important. Being enrolled in a forensic psychology program, which was also novel at the time. Getting my license and opening my own practice was vastly important in terms of perpetuating the concept I have of you have to figure out who you are, right? Make sure you know that you own certain decisions that happen to you in your life, and be able to accept the consequences that come with making certain decisions. I would say as an enrollee and also a health professional, for people who are struggling with any symptoms, I would say take the chance that things could be different. Like take the chance that things could improve by doing something different. And that could mean seeing psychotherapy, it could mean changing other elements of one's life, but take the chance that things could be different.